Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be trying on lots of new makeup, things that I have ordered recently that I have not tried before, or things that I've had in my collection for a really long time and only tried it a couple of times. So I thought I would share with you my thoughts on these products because some of these are quite hyped up products at the moment. People are talking about it all the time, and if you're interested in beauty and makeup, then you might be interested in seeing what these products look like. So without further ado, I'm gonna get started because I don't have much time. I've got to go and take my little boy to nursery in just 20 minutes. So I've got 20 minutes to get through all the products, and most of the products are things that I've not tried before, but there are a couple of products that I couldn't find replacements. So I've just had to use old favorites. So I'm gonna zoom you in so that you can see properly, and I think that looks a little bit better. I'm gonna start by moisturizing my face because I have very dry skin. I cannot put makeup without moisturizing. My makeup just looks horrible. And I'm gonna be using the Charlotte Tilbury Magic Cream Instant Turnaround Moisturizer. And this is what it looks like. It's quite a hyped up product. A lot of people rave about this. That's how much I'm putting on my face, just spreading it all over the face. And this has the most luxurious feel to the skin, but not like a night cream, because I find that night creams they feel really rich for the specific reason that they are supposed to work overnight on your skin. This feels like it has some kind of silicone in it and just plumps up my face. It makes it feel a lot more hydrated and just gets rid of any dryness, and when it sets, my skin still feels quite nourished and plump. I don't know what it is about it that makes my skin feel really, really plump. And now I'm gonna move on to primer. Now, primer is not something that I usually even bother with. I don't know why, I just kind of never got the point of primer. It never made any difference to my makeup with or without primer. But I was watching Jeffree Star here on YouTube. I'll leave his channel linked below, and he was absolutely raving about this Guerlain primer, and it's called Radiance Concentrate with Pure Gold. And I don't know why, but he just completely convinced me to buy the primer. It's extremely expensive, so totally not like me to buy something like that for a primer, but come on, look at it. Look at the flecks of gold inside. This is just looks divine. I am just gonna start little, just with one tiny little dot, and see how it goes. Ooh, it has a lovely cooling effect to the skin. It has like a gel texture. It's not a cream texture at all. It's a lot lighter. I'm just gonna put some more and spread it over my forehead. And I'm assuming the little flecks of gold will leave some sort of sheen behind on the skin underneath foundation, which I quite like. Oh, I can already tell how much more glowy my face looks just looking at the screen there, because it looks as though the product hasn't dried, but to touch it is dry. It just left a nice natural soft glow. My first impressions and the way it feels on the skin, amazing. Now let's move on to foundation, and I have a brand new foundation from Giorgio Armani. This is the Power Fabric Longwear High Cover Foundation. And if you know anything about me, if you've ever watched any of my beauty videos, you know that I'm a huge fan of Giorgio Armani Luminous Silk. It's my all-time favorite foundation. I wore it on my wedding day. I've repurchased it many, many times. My shade on Armani Luminous Silk is 3.5. And when I looked at the description of 3.5 on the website, it was nothing like the description of my 3.5 on Luminous Silk. So I ended up going for shade 5, which looks like quite a good match. And this has SPF 25. It's a high coverage foundation, so it's probably for anyone who likes full coverage, who likes to cover imperfections and to have that flawless airbrushed finish. but I will have to tell you how I feel about it, because I do like medium coverage, not a huge fan of like an obvious high coverage. If it gives me a high coverage but it doesn't look obvious, then I'll be a big fan. To get the most of the high coverage, I'm going to apply this foundation with a brush, and this is the Expert Face Brush from Real Techniques. And I just find that with a beauty blender it might change a little bit of the coverage, only because a sponge will soak up a lot more of the product, so it means that you won't get the true coverage of the foundation. I'm just going to start very small with a small blob, and I know this is not much, but I'm going to start on one side of my face so that I can see the results. This looks like a good color match. This is a lot thicker immediately, I can tell, than Armani Luminous Silk. It feels more like Estee Lauder Double Wear. If you like that foundation, then you'll like the texture of this one. But it doesn't feel cakey. And I know I only put a little bit of product, but it doesn't feel like an obvious full coverage. But as you can see, it's already done a great job at evening out my skin and covering pretty much all of my pigmentation. I'm just going to take up whatever is left on the brush onto my forehead. So yeah, this is the one side with a very thin layer of the Power Fabric foundation, and this is the side without foundation. You can definitely see the difference in the skin, even though it's only a thin layer. So now I'm going to even up and put a little bit on the other side. So that's what one very thin layer looks like on. It doesn't look too full coverage. It's definitely not cakey. This is usually my problem area where I have dry skin and it's not done anything, like it's not clinging to my dry patches. It's not settling yet into my fine lines or anything. It feels like really dry and, you know, just not, it doesn't feel sticky. It just feels really comfortable on the skin, and it might look a little bit too light for me if you compare to like my shoulder color, but it definitely matches my neck, and once I have all the rest of my makeup on, I'm sure it will blend in fine. So I'm just going to add another layer to see how the foundation layers up, and also to see if I can get that high coverage. This time I'm going to use a little bit more product. I'm just going to dab it on both sides of my face at the same time. So this is definitely now full coverage. It's covered every single imperfection on my face, and as you can see, it's gone a lot paler. I could have done with one shade darker than this, but I can darken it with bronzer. It's not a problem at all. So yeah, if your skin tone is similar to mine, I would go for one shade darker to avoid you having to darken your face up with bronzer to match it all up. One thing I would say about how I use my Expert Face Brush is that because I've got dry skin, I don't buff around my face too much, because I find that that gives an effect of like an exfoliating, which means that it just flicks up the dry flakes onto my face. So the only places where I buff is on my forehead, around my jawline, my cheeks, and then on the rest where I've got dry skin, I literally do like a painting motion like that, or even just a pushing motion, because it helps the dry skin not flake. And that's a tip that I picked up from watching so many makeup tutorials online, is that you don't necessarily have to use a brush in only one way. You can use it in different ways in different parts of your face, depending on your skin type and your problem areas and things like that. So that is the Giorgio Armani Power Fabric Foundation. I'll have to report back on my full first impressions of this, because at the moment I'm undecided. I like it. I still don't think it's as good as Luminous Silk. It is a little bit more obvious on the skin, but that's because I've got two layers on, and usually on a day-to-day basis I would only wear one layer, and I'll just have to see how it wears throughout the day. Let's move on to concealer. Now concealer is one that I don't have a new one, because I just have my trusty old favorite MAC Pro Longwear. I like it far too much. I am on the hunt for a new concealer though, and I've been looking at the Tarte Shape Tape concealer, something like that. and I really want to try it. I just got so overwhelmed with the shade names and the shade range that I didn't buy it. So if you've tried the Tarte concealer, then let me know in the comments below and tell me what you think of it, if it's worth buying, if it's better than MAC Pro Longwear, and what shade you have it on, especially if you have a similar skin tone to mine. My MAC Pro Longwear Concealer is in NW20, and I like it to be slightly lighter than my skin tone because it kind of highlights my under eye area and hides my dark circles. For bronzer, I'm going to be using the MAC Harmony blush, and this is not a new product by any means. It's actually quite old, but it's a big cult product that a lot of people use for bronzing and contouring, only because it's a matte brown shade, so it's perfect for that contoured effect. And I just dug out of my collection recently and I've been absolutely loving it. It goes with a lot of skin tones as well, so it will suit a lot of people, and it's one of those great multitasking products. You can also use it as an eyeshadow. I think it gives such a nice effect, and as you can see, my foundation already doesn't look so light because of the bronzer, and so with all the products it will blend in just fine. My blush today is the Benefit Galifornia, I think that's what it's called, and it's fairly new from Benefit, and this is a brand new one. I've not used it. It's a lovely coral shade with some sheen to it, so it will act as a highlighter as well, and it just looks really, really beautiful. Let's just see how it looks on my skin. It comes out quite well, even though my skin is quite olive toned, so it does suit olive skin. The problem I find with most coral blushes is that they're not deep enough for medium to olive skin. It just looks really nice on fairer skin tones, but this one looks lovely and it has a nice little highlighting sheen as well. Pigmentation is really good and it's just a nice soft glow to the skin. On my eyebrows, I tend to always use the same product, which is my MAC eyeshadow in Carbon, but today I'm going to be using something completely different. This is the Lottie London Arch Rival, and I think I've used this once on camera, but it's such a great product. It doesn't get that much hype, and it definitely should, because it's so easy to do your eyebrows. The only thing is it is quite messy, so I have to have like a wipe in my hand when I open it, because it's a loose powder inside here, and then the bristles in here pick up the fine little powders, and so it kind of goes everywhere, and I just have to like rub off the excess. I've got the shade Dark, which is perfect for my eyebrows because they're quite dark, but it's not black, it's more like a very, very dark brown. It just goes on very easily, and I do very gentle, tiny little strokes, barely any pressure at all in my hands, and it just fills in the gaps of my eyebrows, which is all I need. My eyebrows are quite thick as they are, but they just need some gaps filling, and this does an amazing job, and it stays on really well as well. It stays on all day, so I really, really like this, and it's not something that I hear many people talking about. It should be a lot more raved because it's just such a convenient product, and it does an amazing job. My eyebrows look really natural whenever I use this, and I like the shade as well. Matches my eyebrows pretty much perfectly. So as you can see, there's a big difference between this brow and this brow. This one is a lot more neat and just tidy, and it was done very, very quickly. It took me less than a minute to do this, so I am thoroughly impressed with this product. I think you can find Lottie London in Superdrug, maybe Boots, but I'm not sure, but definitely Superdrug. This brow is usually the hard one. I don't know why I find this one harder than the other one. Do you also have a brow that's harder than the other one? So that's my brows done, and I think they look great. For eyeshadow, I'm going to be using this MAC palette, which I picked up a few months ago, but never really got around to using it. It's called the Amber x9, and it has 9 eyeshadows. They're all neutral. It's a good mixture of matte and shimmers, light and darks, and they're all sort of like from the warm spectrum. The thing with these kinds of palettes from MAC is that I just find that they disappoint me on the pigmentation. The individual shadows are so much more pigmented than the palettes for me. It's just such a disappointment because like this golden shadow, I literally picked up so much product with the brush, but it just doesn't come out. And even with my finger, I'm kind of like really rubbing it hard and not much product comes out. And on the pan, it just looks so beautiful. Bit disappointed with this, like I'm really rubbing it so hard there and the pigmentation is just not coming out as much as it should, or not even close to what it looks like on the pan. Maybe I have a dodgy one, I don't know. So now I'm gonna go for this kind of like warmer brown on the outer corner and then the darker brown on the lash line. I'm just gonna do like my usual eye makeup look. I tend to always stick to the same look. So this eyeshadow is not really a color for my skin tone. It's not really coming out much at all. It's not looking like it's done anything really. I might just go straight to that dark brown shade in the middle there and add a tiny little bit of it to the outer edge of my eye. And that's a lot better already. I think the teachers at my son's nursery are gonna think, what has she been doing and why has she got so much makeup on? I don't usually wear all this makeup to go and do the school run. Now I'm just gonna use this tiny little brush here, which has a flat edge, to run that same dark brown shadow on my top lash line. I really wanted to apply gel liner today, but I don't think I'm gonna have the time. I'm really cutting it fine to go and take my son to nursery. So I'm just gonna move on to highlighting my brow bone. And I'm gonna be using this middle shadow here from the palette, which is like a shimmery champagne color. I think this is a nice color as well for a highlighter. So I'm gonna highlight my, what's this called? Bridge of my nose with that eyeshadow. It's just really beautiful, like a golden highlighty shade. Lovely. I'm just gonna clean up underneath my eyes with my MAC Prep and Prime highlighter. This is again an old favorite and I could not find a replacement for it. It is my favorite under eye highlighter, dark circle hider, just overall great multitasking, make me awake product. A lot of words for one product, but it really is one of my holy grail products to making me look awake and just generally brightening the under eye area. Just brings so much light to my face with not a lot of effort and not a lot of product. And so it means that my concealer doesn't crease because the highlighter doesn't crease, and it just helps brighten up the whole face. I'm not going to wear eyeliner today. I'm going to move on straight to mascara, and I've got the brand new Benefit Bad Gal Bang Mascara. This has been so hyped up recently. I had to pick it up. Benefit They're Real is my favorite mascara of all time. I go back and forth. I try so many mascaras and I always go back to Benefit They're Real. So I'm really excited to see what this one is like. And I love the fancy packaging. It's kind of like a matte black, and I know it's gonna get all grubby because of all like the stuff that's in my fingers. It's already making it all like dirty. Let's have a look at the brush. The brush is quite long and just like the bristles are not too joined together. Don't know how I feel about it. I quite like my brushes to be dense rather than sparse like this, but let's see how this performs. So I'm excited because I've heard great things about it. I do have quite long lashes already, and oh my gosh, this is impressive. Wow, look at my lashes. Look at the lift. Wow. I've not curled my lashes. They're just amazing. Right, this is a serious contender for my all-time favorite mascara. Look at the difference. Wow. It's volumizing, it separates the lashes. It's not like leaving them all clumped up together. This is insane. This is like, can you see it? Am I like crazy? Look at the difference. Wow, this is a seriously great mascara. I was so dubious of this brush, but it does an amazing job at like grabbing all the lashes and then lifts them up and disperses all the product evenly on all of the lashes. This is just insane. Can't believe it, my lashes are so long. It just looks like I've applied a set of fake lashes on. That's how amazing they look. I'm gonna put just a little bit on my bottom lashes, only because they just look so naked, but I don't want them to be too defined. Oh my gosh, this is just like so impressive. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my lashes just look unreal. They just look like I've got fake lashes on. It's amazing. Definitely impressed with this. I just want to see how it lasts, if it smudges, if it transfers. If it doesn't, then this will be my all-time favorite mascara ever. For lips, I'm going for Charlotte Tilbury with Charlotte Tilbury Lip Liner in Pillow Talk, which is so raved, and the Charlotte Tilbury lipstick in the Duchess. Pillow Talk is one of those cult products that all of the beauty gurus, beauty bloggers and vloggers talk about, and I never quite understood why they like it so much. But it's such a nice natural shade. It goes with a lot of lipsticks. It glides on the lips so easily, and it just adds a nice natural look to the lips. And it also gives your lipstick a lot of longevity. And you could just go with the lip liner itself because it looks good on its own. I just really like how natural and soft it looks. Now I'm going to add the lipstick on top just to make my lips a little bit more moisturizing, because my lips are so dry at the moment, and it's a little bit more brightening through my face. It's not the most moisturizing and hydrating, but it's definitely not the dry matte that you can get with some liquid lipsticks. I think it's a nice general pinkish color, which is like my favorite type of lipstick. So this is the entire look, trying on new makeup, products that are hyped up, things that I haven't tried in a long time, and just generally trying to branch out and try different products and find some new favorites. I am definitely impressed with the Benefit mascara. I like the way that the foundation is looking on my skin, because it's not cakey for a full coverage foundation. It looks pretty good and it's not settled into any lines. It's just giving me a lovely airbrush finish. I feel like this is the finish that I would go if I went to a red carpet event, an evening party, a wedding or something. This would be the coverage that I would want. I'm just generally impressed with most of the products in my face. The MAC palette is not like the best quality one, but it did come out quite nicely. The shadows look nice, but like the mascara just steals the show. It's definitely my favorite thing out of everything that I tried on today. If you've tried any of these products, leave a comment below telling me if you like them or not. And if you've not tried them, tell me if you are keen to try them after watching my video and which ones were your favorites. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a big thumbs up. And if you're not subscribed already to my channel, I'd love for you to subscribe and stick around to see more videos from me. I hope you're having a lovely day, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye!